I'm here outside of Denver, Colorado, and this line of cars represents the reintroduction of the Audi Allroad to the American market after a 5.5-year absence. The Allroad is now built on the A4 platform that Audi internally designates as the B8. It used to be built on the C5 platform, which is what Audi calls an A6.
As far as size goes, they're actually quite similar. Only a handful of inches on the exterior separates a C5 Allroad from a B8 Allroad. Really shows how much the B8 and the A4 platform has grown over the years to become basically a C segment from yesteryear. It's important to note that unlike the C5 counterpart, this uses a fixed suspension. So it's 1.5 inches ground clearance raised over the A4 Avant. And with the modular architecture that we have on the A4 and on the B8 platform, we're actually able to take the track from an A5, marry that to the A4 Avant platform, and you also we've changed the profile on the tire to a 45 series for a bit more ground clearance as well, and then revised the final drive ratio to compensate for that. So overall, not just a body kit.
So we've just crossed the Continental Divide at over 11,000 feet elevation, and the Audi Allroad is still pulling strong. That's amazing when you realize it's only powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but it's got a turbo, and it actually outperforms the twin-turbo V6 in its predecessor. Not only is it faster 0 to 60, but it gets over 25 miles per gallon in mixed use, which is amazing for something I would consider a crossover. My two favorite aspects, though, of the Audi Allroad are its steering and its ride. Its steering is the first instance I've seen where they've used an electromechanical setup that is actually nicer to use than a hydraulic system, and it's more fuel efficient and lighter. And the ride is simply sumptuous. They use a taller profile tire and a longer spring, and the result is something that will absorb the worst that the road, whether it's in the mountains or in downtown, can dish out and not upset the occupants. You combine these attributes, and I think you've got what should be considered the future of the crossover. It'll be interesting to see if consumers agree with me and with Audi.
So the market, I think, we feel is right for this car. In the past, if you remember the C5 Allroad, that existed in a time before Audi had a Q7, before Audi had a Q5. It was right during the time of the big SUV explosion in the US. And now I think that customers are starting to really find their place in terms of what car suits them best. The Allroad is the perfect example of someone like me who in the city navigates some pretty junky roads with potholes and things like that, so I would appreciate the raised suspension and the thicker sidewalls that are in the Allroad. But I also would like to, of course, take to the mountains in the weekends, for snowboarding or for mountain biking, things like that. And so you really have the opportunity with the Allroad, with the Q5, with the Q7, to have a specific answer for each one of those customers. So this is really a perfect time for this car in the market.
The Audi Allroad will compete with a variety of vehicles, from BMW's 3 Series to the Subaru Outback and Volvo Cross Country, even some more conventional crossovers and SUVs. Audi believes that its potent combination of practicality, fuel economy, and panache will ensure it outsells its predecessor. From Vail, Colorado, I'm Isaac Bouchard for Autoline Daily.
Clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Why? Higher take rates, lower cost of ownership, longer range and better fuel mileage, lower CO2 emissions. Clean diesel, good, economical, functional. Bosch, invented for life.